You really got to check these things out. Hello and welcome to another Cedar Creek Motorsports overview. This time we're going to be getting through the 2025 Polaris XPeditions. On your left here we have the XP in moss green, and on the right we have their ADV in what they call super graphite. Let's get to it. It's super easy to tell both of these machines apart because the ADV comes with this truck cap style rear that's going to give you a lot more interior volume, as well as giving you a locking rear glass window on the Northstar model. So that's super nice. You can keep a lot more stuff secure inside the cab because they both do have locking doors as well. Over on the XP, instead of getting that truck cap style, you get more of a traditional pickup truck bed. And this is a cargo dump bed as well with hydraulic assist, so you just have to hit this lever right here and it'll dump whatever out. Also makes getting to the engine, so doing some maintenance tasks is a little bit easier. However, the main thing that you're gonna need to do on both of these machines is making sure that your air filter is clear and checking your oil level. And they make that very easy on both of these machines. Since the ADV does not have that cargo bed functionality, they really thought about that. On the right hand of both of these machines, you're gonna have your oil level right here, easy to access. And on the left hand of the machine, you're gonna have your air filter cover, and that's gonna have 3 quick turn fasteners. It tells you which way is locked, so you can make sure that you have that sealed on there. You'll undo those, you can pop the cover off and check how dirty your air filter is. It's always best to keep an eye on that, especially in the summer months when trails can get super, super dusty. Both of these XPeditions are gonna have the same power plant, which is the ProStar 999cc dual overhead cam parallel twin engine that's gonna be putting all the power through their CVT transmission that gives you both a high range and low range gearing. So up front, they're gonna end up being exactly the same with the 4,500 pound Polaris HD winch that comes with their synthetic rope on there and their awesome auto stop technology. So what that does is there's a magnet in this rubber piece on the front there. When it gets sucked into the fair lead with a certain amount of tension that crushes that rear rubber, it's going to sense that and it's automatically going to cut power to the winch. So you're not going to end up damaging that synthetic rope, which is an awesome feature because if you're sitting inside the cab, it's hard to know how far that thing is actually spooled in unless you have someone outside yelling at you. Another awesome thing that Polaris has put onto these XPeditions, and they're actually putting on all of their units now, is this standard SAE port. And that's connected directly to the battery. So if you have this thing in storage, you don't have to pull the battery out. You don't have to get access to it. You can just plug your battery tender in right there. There's also a bunch of other accessories that you can plug into there. Let's say you needed to pull power to another machine, you can do that from there. However, it's mainly for plugging a battery tender in to keep the battery up to charge while it is in storage. Both these machines are going to be running the same Pro Armor tires. They are 30-inch tires wrapped around 15-inch cast aluminum rims. That's going to make sure you have plenty of ability to roll over larger rocks or falling down trees. Whatever it may be, those larger tires make going off-road a lot easier on the machine. With both of these being the Northstar Edition, you do get the full hard cab, which gives you the doors with glass windows, and those are power windows, so there's a button inside. You do get a glass windshield as well, and this is a tip-out glass windshield. So there is a fully open and a vent, and then the closed position right there. And the glass windshields do get the wiper, and there is a washer system in there as well, which makes these things really like a light-duty truck that you can take off-road. You can't register them with the DOT, but with Wisconsin opening up a lot more ATV, UTV routes, you can almost use these things as a daily driver. And in fact, some folks do in the northern part of the state. There are some roads that you cannot go on, so make sure you're up to date with your local jurisdiction or wherever you are planning to ride. But let's be honest, these things are not meant for riding on the road. These are meant for going off-road. getting out into the middle of nowhere and finding your Expedition. Maybe you're going out camping. These things are really designed for off-road riding. And you can tell from up here, this is actually a snorkel system. And if we look on the ADV version here, you have another snorkel on the other side. What these are is one is going to be your air intake. The other is going to be the CVT air intake. So these machines are belt drive, and part of getting a belt drive to be a performance transmission is making sure there's plenty of airflow going through there. So they give it a bunch of airflow. They give it a snorkel to make sure if you're going through a bunch of mud, it's not going to get a bunch of water sucked into it. It can get fresh, clean air to help cool it down to extend that belt life. Another way that Polaris has made sure that these are a performance off-road machine is going to be with the Fox suspension setup. On the rear here, we have the Fox 2.5 QS3 shocks. So you have some preload adjustability, and then you have 3 positions of compression adjustment on the rear as well as the front. The front suspension is going to be the Fox 2.0 QS3 shocks. So you get the same adjustments on there. It is just a little lighter duty of a shock on the front, being that the cargo capacity on the Expeditions is 600 pounds in the rear cargo area, and you can tow up to 2,000 pounds with both of these machines because Polaris did include a standard 2-inch receiver on both Expeditions. Whether you get the XP or the ADV version, you'll be able to tow up to 2,000 pounds with ease. If you are towing or you have these things loaded out near their payload capacity, or if you're going up a really, really steep hill, you are going to want to make sure to use low gear. That is going to help preserve the belt life on these machines. It's going to allow it to run at a better ratio, which just helps that belt stay cooler. It's also going to put less stress on the driveline components of the machines. And we'll step on into the interior of one of these machines real shortly, but while we're on the outside, I do want to show you their Lock and Ride Max cargo rail. So this is going to be their new heavy duty accessory attachment system. Gives you an aluminum bar there. It is a lot more heavy duty of an accessory attachment system than their previous Lock and Ride, which they still use on a lot of their machines. It's still a fantastic system. This is just another step up, being that the Expeditions are meant to be an even more extreme duty off-road machine, that you're going to want to take a bunch of stuff with you while you are out on your Expedition through these awesome Wisconsin trails. So let's head on into the interior of one of these, because they have a lot of awesome creature comforts inside these Northstars. One of the first things you'll notice when you go to the interior of these machines is going to be this nice and large step right there that makes it very easy for getting access onto the roof in case you throw a roof rack and you need to get a bunch of luggage up there or get it down. It makes it a lot easier having that nice treaded step, so you're not going to end up slipping on that. It makes sure you have a sure footing. One other thing you'll notice right away is going to be the JBL audio system with that red little tag right there. What's really cool is next to that is this lever. That's going to be how you're going to adjust the tilt and telescoping steering wheel. That makes it very easy to get super comfortable in this machine. These bucket seats are going to slide back and forth as well. There is a lever underneath there, so you can slide it forward and back depending on your height or your seating preference. Yet another really cool thing Polaris added to these Expeditions is going to be having 3 different ride modes. So you have 114 horsepower, but you're going to get to choose how that power comes on. So you have your comfort mode, standard, and a sport mode. Basically, what that's going to end up doing is adjusting the throttle response. So comfort is going to be a little more delayed. It's going to use a little more pedal travel to get the same amount of power. But once you get to wide open, it is still going to give you full power. It just adjusts how touchy that pedal is. You have standard and sport as well, each kind of stepping up in touchiness. So if you want something that's very responsive, you can throw it into sport. If you kind of like it in the middle, you have standard there. Or if you want just to kind of cruise along the trails without trying to race around, comfort's going to be where you want to be. As well as if you're towing or you have this thing really loaded out, comfort is my favorite mode to use. It just reacts with having a full load a lot easier. It's a lot more gentle. It's easier to control. And right here, this will be your 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive selector. And you do have a full turf mode. So that will be your open differential on the rear. So if you need to protect the grass, you can throw it into turf mode. It's going to be a lot more gentle on the terrain. If you need to make sure that you can keep forward motion, you can throw it into a locked rear differential or their true on-demand all-wheel drive system. And that's going to make sure that you're always getting through whatever kind of mud hole that you find yourself in. And that JBL audio is going to be powered through the Polaris Ride Command display. Now, this is a pretty awesome infotainment system. You're going to have AM, FM radio, as well as Bluetooth connectivity. But what's really cool is they do have built-in navigation, and Polaris's Ride Command, if you didn't know, is easily the best navigation system in the industry at the moment, with a lot of info for built-in off-road trails. For their snowmobiles, they have snowmobile trails. It's really an all-inclusive navigation system, and they have a lot of extra features to it, like ride tracking. You can throw your waypoints on there if you want to navigate to a specific spot. They have Rides and Places tab, and what's really awesome is their group ride functionality. So if you're riding with some other people, it'll actually show you where they are. There's a lot of extra features through Ride Command Plus as well. So stay tuned, make sure to like and subscribe. We will do a tutorial that goes through the entire Ride Command infotainment display because there is a ton of features to it. You can connect to your phone, and then it also works as a customizable gauge display as well. So you can flip that around and go into kind of their settings screens. There's a lot that you can play with on here. So stay tuned for a full in-depth tutorial on there. And if you notice any sort of fan in the background, that is going to be the AC blasting right now. I got it as cool as it will go, and it is pretty chilly in here. Outside in Wisconsin, I think it's pretty warm out, and ooh, it actually says right here on the Ride Command display, 81 degrees out right now. I'm more of a winter person, so that is boiling hot for me, so I got the AC blasting as cold as it will go. What's really cool with their HVAC system is they do give you zone control as well, so you can decide if you want it only blasting at your face. You can have it throw some heat or cold air down to your feet, and you also have a specific defrost function as well as defrost with foot zone. And what's really cool, if you don't want to throw on the AC, you do have a full tip-out windshield. I'm going to leave that closed to help keep that cold air in right now. It does also have a vent position. I'll show you that real quick. We can do it with one hand. There we go. So if you pop that in that slot right there, that's going to allow the bottom of the windshield to be vented. Super handy feature that they did there. But once again, I got the AC on, so I'm going to be leaving that closed. Right down here, this is where you have your windshield wiper and your washer functionality. So if you flip that to the middle, that's going to turn the wiper on. You push it again to the top, that's going to turn your washer function on. I'm going to put this back into park. Really handy thing they kind of did there. If you're driving with the gear lever pulled back into either high or low gear range, it makes it a lot easier getting to your controls while you are driving, so you can pay attention to the trail ahead. And then down here in the center console, this is where we have our window controls. So you have power windows for the driver and passenger, and a couple switch blanks. So if you throw any accessories on here, like some light bars or a particle separator, you can use those. You also have a bunch more switch positions in the center console right there, as well as a nice little storage area for you to throw your gloves or whatever you might want. Really cool thing that they also did, let me get my filter set down here, is you have a locking center console on here. So right now it's unlocked, and they put a lot of power options in there for you. So you have your standard 12-volt accessory outlet, and then you have your 2-position USB charge port right there. They also gave you a pretty sizable glove box in here, and I'll try and show you this here. It does kind of dip down a bit, so you can get a fair amount of stuff tucked in there. And you have another USB port right here. You can charge off of this, but this is mainly for updating your Ride Command display. So that's going to plug directly into the display if you need to upgrade any of the maps or do any kind of updates there. And what I threw out right here This is their kind of basic toolkit. It's like they gave you a tire pressure gauge, a pliers, and a few other handy things in there, some extra fuses. And then up top on the Northstar models, they do give you a rear view mirror. That's going to be nice and large, makes it very easy to see what's behind you once you get that adjusted right. And up top on this nice headliner, you do get a dome light. So if you're out riding at night, you can flip that on, make it very easy to see. If you had to grab something from in here at night, it's a lot easier to see, just throw that on. So one other thing I want to talk about while we're in here, since we have all of these extra switch positions for adding a bunch of accessories, Polaris on the Northstar models did think of that, and they added a 140 amp alternator to these machines. So if you put a bunch of electrical accessories on there, it is going to be able to keep up with the electrical demand. And there's one thing underneath the hood that I want to show you, since they gave you a ton of options for adding a bunch of electrical accessories. So in order to get underneath the hood on these Polarises, there's these quick turn fasteners. You got one on each side. So if you undo those, you got these rubber straps here, one on each side again. So with those off, you'll be able to lift this hood on up, and this is exactly what I wanted to show you right here. This is what they call their Polaris Pulse system. So that is a 6-position accessory bus bar that is going to get you power to the battery. It is going to be switched and fused, which is the best way to add any sort of electrical accessories to make sure you don't have some sort of parasitic draw. While we're under here, you will notice we do have a cabin air filter, so if you're out on dusty trails, you got that AC blasting, you're going to be breathing nice and clean air. And we got our windshield washer bottle underneath there as well. So they made it super easy for adding any sort of electrical accessories to these Expeditions. We have a lot of customers that end up adding extra front light bars, light pods, and then some backup lights as well. And a lot of people will put chase lights on the rear of the machine just to make sure that people can see them when they're out on the trails, because the trails are getting more popular. There's more people out there, so you want to make sure when people are flying through the woods that they can see you, so they know how to react instead of being surprised. Polaris does also offer both the XP and the ADV in 5-seat versions. That's going to add another row of seats. What's really cool in the 5-seat ADV is that rear row will flip down, giving you a massive interior cargo area. So all you got to do is decide, are you Team XP or Team ADV? Remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Let's ride.